Despite what people say, I'm going to rant here. You can learn at home from the very start with zero background in anything. But hello, welcome to Pole Dance Rants. I'm Vina with StudioVina.com, a website where you can learn to pole dance right at home with me. This is my very first rant, and since it is the new year, I thought it's very fitting that I cover important tips for every beginner. This is a common question that you hear about. People are like, I'm starting pole dance, give me tips. Well, there are so many things that we should know as pole dancers that it's really difficult to say, all right, here's 2 tips, So it's really kind of a mindset that I think people should have going into their pole journey. So even if you're not a beginner, maybe you're an instructor or you dream of being an instructor, this is helpful information for you as well because it can allow you to tailor your classes so that people want to keep coming back. So let's get started. Now, one of the first things that people often ask is, do I need to go work out in the gym or start training my flexibility before I take a pole class or before I buy a pole for my home? The answer is no. But there is a but. The problem is not everyone teaches the same. So as long as you have found a quality pole studio that actually includes strength and conditioning and flexibility with their beginner programs, you're good. That's all you need. You don't need to have some background in gymnastics. I don't have one. You don't need a background in dance. I also don't have that. So what you need is the passion for this sport and this art. That's what you need. And a quality instructor. So as long as you understand that, you're good to go. Now, is it helpful if somebody is very fit? Of course it is. I mean, that just makes sense. But there's no reason that you need to lose weight or drop 5 pounds before you go to that pole class. Just do it. All right, number 2, have a plan. So as a beginner, it can be really tempting to hop on social media and do a search for beginner pole tricks or whatever, beginner whatever. And you're going to get a ton of results, and a lot of them are not true beginner pole work because people mean well. They really do. They're like, oh, this is easy for me. It must mean it's beginner. But really, beginners, they are needing to learn how to hold their whole entire body up before they can do a lot of these tricks in order to make it safe for them to learn. So having a plan that you can follow as a brand new pole dancer is going to put you leaps and bounds ahead of those who just go on social media and search up beginner pole tricks. Not to mention, if you're only searching for random tricks, you might forget that you need to warm up and you need to condition and strengthen and you need to do your flexibility work. So all of these things can kind of pile up in your mind and become very overwhelming if you don't have a plan. And if you're the type of person that has difficulty creating plans, then going to a studio who does that for you or an online resource like myself that has everything planned out for you can be a really great benefit for total baby beginner pole dancers. One of the things that the plan will help you with is to understand your fundamentals. So that's number 3, learn your fundamentals. I can't stress this enough because pole dance is like using building blocks. What you need to do is understand a handful of basic poses, tricks, and you will then be able to unlock all kinds of different variations. So most of the tricks that you see are just variations of these fundamental tricks. If you wonder what they are, I will put a link down below so you can go see what fundamental pole work is. And of course, I will teach you those things on the website as well. So this kind of goes along with the whole social media thing. If you just search around, hey, beginner pole trick, you're going to get things that are not true beginner, and you're not going to have that building block aspect to your pole practice if you're just randomly scrambling to learn different things that you see and think are fun. Does that make sense? Tea time. So I love social media, but it can be a real frustration, I think, for a lot of pole dancers because things are mislabeled. We compare ourselves, and I'll get to that. So number one is, remember, you don't need to work out or start training for pole dance before you learn to pole dance. Number two, you need to have a plan. Number three, learning your fundamental tricks is key to progressing and to preventing injury. All right, number four, this is about choosing the right way to learn for you. And I'm not saying that there's only one right way to learn. Everyone is different. So that's why you need to know yourself and try a few different things and see what is going to work for you. It may be an in-person class is the only option because it works best for you. It may be that you suffer with anxiety, or you're rural and you live far from any studios and you have kids and a busy life, and going to a studio just doesn't work. I do think studios can be, as long as they teach properly, are a great resource because it can help you connect with other people who enjoy the same sport, and that can help keep you, and if you like your instructor, it'll help keeping you go back and back. But it can also be a stress for a lot of people. Maybe you don't learn as well in front of others and you get frazzled, and so then your progression will be hindered a bit if this is something that you struggle with. So learning from home can be a good option because despite what people say, I'm going to rant here, you can learn at home from the very start with zero background in anything. But you have to use the right instructor. You have to follow a plan and a program. It is not safe to just randomly start trying things on your own. Now, there are exceptions to that, I will say. If you're somebody who's been in gymnastics before, maybe like I started off as a personal trainer, so I understood body mechanics and muscles and how things functioned, so I was able to teach myself and eventually develop my Vina method of teaching others. So there are always exceptions to things, but in general, for the general population who has no background in fitness or health, you can absolutely learn at home, but you need to follow the right plan. Okay, so number four is choosing the right kind of instruction for your lifestyle. Now, I do have a more in-depth video about how to choose a studio or an online research. I will link that below as well. It's very simple. You can go to your studio, and if any of the red flags pop up, you can decide, well, maybe I should find a different studio, or you can go to different online courses and say, hey, does this work for me? Does this fall? Are there any red flags? And if not, cool. And there's no reason why you have to learn from just one instructor. It's great to try different instructors and see who resonates with you, what works for you. All right. That brings me to number 5, which is it's important for beginners to understand, and pole dancers in general, that there's no universal definition of levels or progression. So it's one of those things where anyone can open a studio, anyone can put up tutorials and charge you for them. There is nothing preventing a random person from doing these things. Excuse me. So it's very important that you go to the studio, you ask questions, or attend a class and see how you feel about it. Because if a class that you go to for your first time, say it's for beginners, they're teaching you inverts and static spins like reverse grab, that is a huge red flag. Run. Now, there are some studios, especially in other countries, where an invert is considered beginner because they cater to people who are already high-level athletes and they're just getting into pole dance, but they're already athletes. So I'm not saying that every studio that says an invert is a beginner trick is bad. I'm saying that for the general population, if that is what your studio is targeting, they should not be teaching inverts to beginners, because we're talking about average human beings that have jobs and lives outside of pole dance. Okay, let's see. Let me check my note here. I think I'm on 6. 6. Pole dance should be about fun. That is why I wanted to start teaching. I wanted other people to experience the joy that I find in practicing pole dance. And if the only thing that's in it for you is getting to the next trick, or maybe deciding, ooh, I'm going to do competitions, you might end up falling out of love really quickly, because pole dance is hard. And especially for people who are, average, regular folks who have a lot going on in their life, trying to pole dance in a way that will allow you to compete at a high level is going to be very, very challenging and disheartening, because it will take you a lot of time. Pole dance is not something that you just learn really super fast, because you first need to build up the ability to hold your body weight. And you might say, oh great, well, I'm 50 pounds overweight, that's never going to happen. That's not true. Any size, you can start this process of building up the strength. In fact, a lot of times larger bodied people are actually already very strong because you're used to carrying your weight around in the first place. So sometimes the people that struggle can be somebody like myself, who was very scrawny to start with, and I had no ability to hold myself before I started lifting weights. This type of person can struggle just as much. So don't let body size trick you into thinking that you cannot pole dance, or that you need a particular instructor who's also just like you. You need an instructor who is capable of helping you find a solution that works for your body, and offering modifications is what they're called. Okay, so pole dance should be fun. Now, how do you make it fun? What do I mean by that? I guess what I mean by pole dance should be fun is we get caught up in the tricks. This is very, very apparent nowadays. So back when Studio Vina first started, my website, we were able to upload videos, and most of the time what was uploaded was usually dances to a whole song. And it wasn't necessarily full of tricks. It was just, I like this song, I'm celebrating whatever, the song, myself, my birthday. And it was beautiful to watch. It was so inspiring. It didn't matter if they could do flips and drops, and you could see, or if they knew how to dance, you could see the individual's expression of that music. And that makes pole dance fun. Yes, tricks are a fun thing to do, and some people just love tricks. But if you're only doing tricks and you're not taking time to learn more about your body and about musicality and flow and just breath and movement, you're missing out on a huge journey with your pole practice. So definitely, when you think about pole dance being fun, let it be fun. It doesn't have to be this stressful thing. It doesn't have to be something where I need to go 3 times a week because I need to get to level X by the time, next year, because otherwise I won't. Like, why? Why is this a thing that people are so obsessed with? Why are studios so obsessed with getting you to the next level? You should be focused on making an enjoyment out of their pole practice. So it needs to be an experience that they want to keep coming back for. And if all you're ever doing is pushing people to go to the next level, a lot of people, remember, these are normal, average people. They need to have balance in their life, and they can't just put all of their time into pole dance. So make the classes fun, make them accessible. If you want to do this online, I got you. I have lots of things. A lot of my students stay at beginner level, not because they can't progress, but because I've told them that it's okay to have a life outside of pole dance. It's okay if you need to take 2 months off and then come back and start again at this level. It's okay. It's still going to be fun. You're still going to have lots of different routines to choose from for a beginner at your level. Speaking of levels, right now I've been pole dancing for over 17 years. And at this point in my life, there's been a lot that's gone on. I am currently dancing at, I would say, a high, intermediate, low, advanced level. And that's just because muscle memory can kick in, and I maintain lifting weights. That's just part of what I do. Even when I don't have time to pole dance, which is often, I maintain my strength work, because that way, when I do feel like I need to create a new video or some content for my Instagram or YouTube or new tutorials, I have the physical ability to do that. Now, can I do all of these crazy things that are popular right now? Hell no. I haven't been practicing enough to do that. And guess what? Does that make me less of a pole dancer or a terrible instructor? No, it means I'm a real person. I have a life, and I completely understand that the average person who enjoys pole dance also has all of these other aspects going on in their life, and it's okay. All right, I feel like I got off on a tangent there. Let's see. Pole dance is having fun. Oh, yeah. Now, number 6 or 7. I think it's 6. Tricks are not the goal of pole dance. And I already touched on this because a rant is coming on again. I go back to social media. I hate it, because it has done some terrible things to our community. It's also done some cool stuff, like allowed us to connect. But, you could do that on the Studio Vina anyway. But the issue with social media is it's so chopped up and disjointed that as beginners, it is completely overwhelming to try and think that you need to learn everything that you see. Because as a beginner, how are you supposed to know what is a fundamental trick and what is something that's just a cool, fun thing that people are doing? And a lot of signature pole tricks, the secret is their signature because that pole dancer's body was able to move in that unique way. So that's why signature tricks, you got to be careful. If it doesn't work for your body, scratch it. It's okay, because it's a signature trick because that person's body was able to do it. All right, number 7. More training is always better. This is super common for beginners. They think, all right, I got my pole, I'm going to set it up, and I'm going to practice every single day. No. Thankfully, the advantage of going to a studio is it's usually too costly to go every single day to every class they offer. So I feel like it's far more likely that people overdo it when they get their own pole. And they'll think, oh, I'm just going to jump on it for a few minutes and try this trick. What happens when you just jump on the pole? Several things. You increase your risk of injury by exponentially. Like, especially if you just were sitting down, chilling, and you decide to go try something on the pole, bad idea. That's how acute injuries happen. Another issue is if you don't warm up and you have a pole or you live in a place where the pole might be cool or cold, you're not going to stick. So you're going to think, oh, I'm doing things wrong. Why can't I sit? Why can't I climb? I did it yesterday in my studio. Well, you need to have tackiness to your skin. That is the key for grip. It doesn't matter what your skin type is or what pole finish you get, as long as you can achieve tacky skin, you're golden. That's what you need to stick to the pole. Tackiness. It could be sticky leggings. It could be done through different grip aids, because not all grip aids are the same. So please do not just assume that the grip aid that came with your pole is the only type of grip aid and is the one that's for you. That's a whole nother rant. Oh my gosh, there's so many things, guys. It's crazy. Okay. So we have covered that more training is not better. That's what we're talking about, right? Yes. The other thing that you need to know as a beginner, when you train, so whether you're lifting weights or training for flexibility, that means training to gain flexibility, not just stretching. So whether you're lifting weights, training to gain flexibility, or doing pole tricks, your muscles need time to recover because that's how they grow. So when you're on the pole learning this new difficult trick, or when you're lifting that heavy weight, you're breaking down the muscle fibers. This is normal. It's okay. It's what happens. But in order for those muscles to repair and recover, you have to let them rest, and you have to feed your body appropriately. So if you're trying to lose weight so you can do an invert, or by not eating and trying to train every single day, you are robbing your body of its ability to function how it's supposed to. So training every day is a big no-no for somebody who is new to pole dance or exercise in general. I was a personal trainer before I started teaching pole dance, and one of the main things I saw with people lifting weights was the same thing. They go to the gym. You know, it's January 2nd today, and they're in there and they're just hitting it hard because they're like, this year I'm going to do it. I'm going to get fit. And they hit it so hard that the next day they can barely lift their arms up. And then that takes you out of the gym for another week or maybe 2. So you've just set yourself back. Stop training every day. Follow a plan and let your body rest. All right, we're almost done here. Number 9 or 10, I have lost count, honestly. Comparison is the thief of joy. And I know this is all over, don't compare yourself, don't compare yourself. There's no timeline. And that's true. It's so true because this is your pole journey. Pole dance can be much like meditation or yoga. It can be this personal pole practice that lifts you up. It provides your spirit some healthy, woo, that was fun. It provides your body with, yes, I'm feeling better and fit. So don't go and look at and say, oh, I've been pole dancing for 2 years and I can't invert. I'm thinking of quitting. Stop. Do not quit. If you love pole dance, don't quit. I don't care if you never invert. I have said this ages ago on my website to people who would get frustrated. Inverting, moving on to the next thing is not your goal. Just have fun. And if you're the kind of person who really struggles to not hit these targets, then try this as a practice to learn that it's okay to be present and be okay with where you are in this moment. Because that's the only time we really have is right now. If you're looking ahead at what I wish I could do or behind at, what I used to do, if you're coming back from an injury, you are going to feel extremely frustrated and you're going to want to quit. So be present and enjoy the process. I have started over, I should really count. I have started over so many times because we have moved 18 times, my husband and I. That means packing up, traveling across country, finding a new space to put up my pole. These things all suck away the time and your ability to practice. So I just want you guys to know, and I'm still going at it. I am not this crazy elite dancer, even though I've been training for 18 years, because I have a life. And I'm not saying that those people who are very excellent and super advanced don't have lives. I'm saying that pole dance is a big part of their life. I'm not dissing them at all. There used to be times where I wish that could have been my life, but I'm very grateful that I have the life I have. I have 4 beautiful kids, a husband. I've traveled and lived places with my family and had experiences that only those who are parents can have. And I feel very, very blessed. So if you're a mom or a dad, don't let any sort of feelings of regret for having children and holding you back from whatever it might be pop in, because it is truly a blessing to have kids. It really is. All right, back to pole dance. So don't compare yourself. We all know that we shouldn't. We all know that it's hard. But if you're the kind of person where this is a really big issue, avoid social media. It's that simple. Focus on you. Laser focus on you. All right, last one. This should be number 10. It might be 11. It could be point number 9. I'll find out when I go to edit. And I'll put the correct number up for you. So last, I want to cover something that seems to be a misconception these days. There's something newish called low flow. We've been doing it forever with pole dance, and I really started to get into it before it was called low flow, back when I had shorter ceilings. So essentially it's just the tricks that are done low on the pole. You're not like flipping up high, you're not doing climbs and stuff like that. You're keeping the flow low around your pole. Some really cool stuff can happen in low flow, but it's not for beginners because a lot of it requires a good level of flexibility. Most of it requires you to be able to hold on with one hand and hold your entire body weight. Even heel work, not because you're going to fall off your heels or twist an ankle. That's a whole nother reason why heel work requires you to actually work up to it. For average people, some people, heels, you can run in them right away. But people who don't wear heels or aren't comfortable with them, you do need to work up to it so you don't twist an ankle. But aside from that, the low flow in heels, you need to be able to hold your body weight in order to make it really smooth and to do the transitions correctly. So if you're new to pole dance and you're like, I love watching these beautiful people flow around the pole doing low flow, that's what I want to do. Learn your fundamentals first. I don't care if you're like, yeah, but I don't want to do a shoulder mount. I just want a low flow. Learning that fundamental shoulder mount is going to help you build your strength and muscle control and all of the fun things that you're going to need for low flow. It's okay if you never really use it for your dancing. It's just going to be a good fundamental element to help you progress so that you can do more difficult things. Right? Okay. Feel free to leave a comment, a rant if you must, but I will also be happy to take any suggestions. I already have a nice long list of things I'd like to cover. The plan is these will come out weekly. I do have a life, so hopefully it will allow me to do my weekly, but you never know. So yeah, let me know how you like this. This is a long format. It's supposed to be long, and they will be long. And if there's anything else in particular you want me to cover, like I said, let me know. Shoot me an email. You can connect with me on the website or just leave a comment. And I'll get back to you and let you know. And if you want to be mentioned for your idea, go ahead and let me know that, hey, like, it's okay if I mention who asked the question or who made the suggestion, because I'm cool with that. All right, well, beginners, please be kind to yourself and understand that pole dance should be fun. Do whatever you can to keep it fun, and you will keep coming back to that pole time after time. Time after time. All right, guys. Go check out my website, studiovina.com. Bye.